All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Russell, A Place of Promises, Home Buyer, Community Land Trust 101. We are so excited that you can join us this evening. And we know it is getting cold outside, so we hope that you are at home or in a safe place, safe and warm place to cozy up and listen to us this evening, talk about community land trust and home ownership. My name is Cassandra Webb. I am the interim co-executive director for Russell Place of Promise. Also with you this evening is our other interim co-executive director, Teresa Zawaki. We have Kobe Bentley, our assistant director of place, and then Vashti Proctor supporting us around community engagement. You will see all of their faces and voices throughout this evening. And if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, you should have the ability to drop them underneath this video on Facebook or on YouTube. And y'all, this is the first time that we are streaming on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So give us some grace if we run into some technical difficulties, and just let us know if there's anything that you missed. But again, if you have any comments, any questions, drop them below this video and we will see them and we'll try to respond to them as soon as we can. So for today's meeting tonight, we are going to explain the history and concept of community land trust. You're going to hear us say CLTs quite a bit. And so when you hear that CLT, we are referring to community land trust. We're going to provide information about the homes that will be available in 2026, 2027. We are building homes, y'all, and we're excited to introduce you all to one of our partners, our main partner on this project that we are building homes with. You'll hear from them in just a few minutes. And then third, we're going to review the home buying process to purchase a home in the community land trust that RPOP is organized as. And then lastly, we'll discuss how to purchase a home on Elliott Avenue, because that's where we are focusing our first investment of community land trust, single family home ownership opportunities. So we want to hear from you. Let's make sure our chat feature is working, y'all. We want to make sure that you can hear us clearly, that we can see your comments and your questions. And so our first question for our audience that's joining us on YouTube as well as on Facebook is, what is the most important consideration for you in buying a home? So when you think about buying a home, whether you are a new homeowner and you're really dreaming about your first home, what is one of the top things that you are considering in purchasing your home? And then if you are currently a homeowner and you want to do a little reflection on your past experiences, let us know what you considered in the home buying experience. Seems like we got some comments coming in. So okay, it looks like we have Nicole Greer 1 joining us from YouTube. And they said size and location. I think a lot of folks consider that in the process. So I think you're right on point, size and location. Anyone else want to drop a comment and let us know what are some other things that you consider in the home buying process? Okay, we got Catherine Davis joining us from YouTube as well. And they said location and safety. We have heard from a lot of folks that location and safety is important and where they want to locate themselves and their families. So I think, Catherine, a lot of other folks feel that same way. We have Jabani that's joining us from Facebook, and she added 4 bedrooms or more, affordability, and neighborhood climate. I think especially when we talk about more bedrooms, we have folks that have multiple generations that are living with them. They may have multiple kids, and so bedrooms are really important. Oh, she refined and said 3 bedrooms, but bedrooms are really important. You also have a lot of people that are working from home, and so they need that office space so they can do their remote work, or maybe they're an artist and they need an art space or a creative, and so that makes a lot of sense. And affordability, of course, and neighborhood climate. All right, we'll continue to add to your responses in the chat. Again, what's the most important consideration for buying a home? And we have over the years in working with community have heard a lot of people say the things that you said: location, the features of the home, the price point, the resale potential. They want to be able to purchase a property and then be able to, once they're ready, be able to resell it and be able to get a good value for their home and their own budgets, of course. Those are typically the most important considerations that we have heard. So we have a second question for you all. What is a feature of a new home that would make you excited to buy? So think about your dream home. Is your dream home, does it have a pool in the backyard or a big enough yard for you to have a pool? Does it have, is everything on one floor? Does it have nice upgraded features and appliances? Does it have brick on the inside, outside? What are those features that you all are looking for when it comes to purchasing your home? And team, feel free to add, if you all had an ideal home, what feature would you like to have in your home? Teresa or Colby, would you like to add, or Vashti?
I will add that one thing I love to see in a home is great natural light. So windows in great places and lots of opportunity to put plants around that get good sunshine and just have the light.
Great. And it sounds like Catherine agrees. She also said natural lighting, a basement, a spacious backyard. We got Saren tuning in as well from YouTube. And she added a kitchen with an infrared countertop for cooking. Okay, girl. I've seen those on the TikToks, in the Instagrams and all the things. Those are very fancy. All right, we got Giovanni adding back in wooden floors. Saren also added a nice sized backyard with room for gardening and her dogs. Nicole chimed back in and said, would love a basement, a patio, and a backyard. Okay. Kobe, you want to hop in? What's your ideal feature of a home?
I like cars, so if I can have a nice, 2 to 10 car garage, we done,
Oh,
acres, but that's just me. I'm just thinking in the future.
yes. Thinking in the future. Yes, space. What I hear from that is space, right? Okay. And Baxter, did you want to add anything?
I would love to have like a big blank wall to be able to like have like a projector to project movies or TV shows, to be able to just really be able to like have like my own type of like theater at home, but just like a huge blank wall that I can project my favorite movies and TV shows on.
Nice. That in-home theater. Very cool. All right, and Giovanni's hopping back in and saying a furnished attic or a renovated attic. So using all the spaces that are available within a home, really getting the best bang for your buck. And so what we've also heard from other people is that they're looking for open floor plans. That's really been popular for folks. So especially if you like to entertain, you're hosting family and friends, being able to have your kitchen connected to your living area, a new kitchen, new bathrooms, spaces that are energy efficient, y'all. We hear that a lot. So you want to make sure that your windows are tight and isn't letting out any air. We want to make sure our appliances are energy efficient so we can keep those utility bills down. So again, continue to add to this question. And we have just one more question for you all. If you're tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, drop it at the bottom of the video. What questions do you have about the home buying process? So if, again, you are a first-time homeowner or a first-time home buyer, and you are just getting in this process, you probably have a lot of questions, right? Because this can be a pretty intimidating process for someone that's new to this. And so if you have questions, drop them in the chat. But if you are currently a homeowner, and just do some reflection, think back to your home buying process, what were some of the questions that you had as you were purchasing your first home? So you can go ahead and drop those below in the video. Underneath this video, and we will see them and read them out loud. Some of the things that we have already heard from people is that many people have questions about how will they work with a bank, or how would they work with a realtor? How do they manage the home maintenance needs? So over time, what will be required? What should they budget when it comes to home maintenance needs over time? And what costs are associated with purchasing a home outside of the mortgage? So yes, you have your mortgage, but you also have insurance. You may have a lot of other fees. And so people are always wondering what is really the cost of being a homeowner. We have Saren that is adding to the chat. How do you know if you're ready to become a homeowner? I think that's a great question, right? There's a lot of checklists that exist out there in the world. And there's going to be a checklist for us if you're interested in purchasing a home in the Russell Community Land Trust with Russell Place of Promise. So we'll make sure we highlight those things over the next 30 or so minutes with you all. All right, so that is great feedback. I'm so glad that y'all have been dropping such great questions and comments under the video. So our next speaker you're going to hear from is actually from the Housing Partnership Inc., or HPI. They are our core partner on our project in bringing new homes to Elliott Avenue in the Russell neighborhood, and we are so excited to be working with them. Representing them this evening is Shanae Moreau. Welcome to the chat and to the video, Shanae.
Thank you, Cassandra. Hello, everyone. As Cassandra said, my name is Shanae Moreau. I hope you all can hear me clearly. My voice is a little different because of the weather. But my name is Shanae Moreau. I'm the Director of Single Family Housing Development at the Housing Partnership, also known as HPI. We're a nonprofit housing developer. We've been in business since 1990. We are excited, ecstatic, and all of that to be partnering with the Russell Place of Promise on this project. I know they will get into more details about the project, but we will be building 25 new construction single family homes on the 2400 and 2500 block of Elliott Avenue. So again, they will get more into details about the project as we get into the presentation. But one thing that I wanted to mention is that one of our lines of business is homebuyer education. We have 3 HUD certified counselors on staff. We are a HUD certified counseling agency. For this project, everyone will need to receive a HUD certified homebuyer education certificate before you can actually proceed to purchasing a home. So if anyone is interested in homebuyer education through the Housing Partnership, you can contact us at 502-585-5451. And again, we have 3 HUD certified counselors on staff. Our director of homebuyer education, her name is Martina Surma. They are great counselors. So if anyone is interested in homebuyer education through HPI, please contact us. And we're located at 1405 West Broadway. We moved there about a month ago. So that's where some of our classes are held. And again, our number is 502-585-5451.
All right, y'all. HPI is the place to go to. We have been dropping a couple of comments in the chat. One is their website. If you are interested in learning more about the Housing Partnership Inc., you can check them out. We also dropped a link to their page about homebuyer education. So if you're interested in learning how do you sign up, when can you sign up, when are the classes, check out that. And then Shanae had mentioned the phone number for you to call to learn more about their homebuyer education. That's also in the chat. So again, that's 502-585-5451. Thank you, Shanae. I appreciate you being on this evening. And again, if you all have more questions about HPI and this partnership with them, continue to drop them in the comment feature and we will get to them. The other partner that we have when it comes to home buyer education is the Louisville Urban League. They do provide this on a regular basis. We'll drop the website to the Louisville Urban League for you all to check that out. They couldn't be with us this evening, but there will be more opportunities for you all to hear from them and to learn about their work at the start of next year. So a little bit of background for Russell Place of Promise. I have a feeling that a lot of folks that may be joining us on YouTube and Facebook are already familiar, but just a quick refresher. Russell Place of Promise, we call ourselves RPOP for short, is a 501c3 organization. We are set up as a community land trust. Our focus is on generating investments without displacement in the Russell neighborhood, and we want to build Black wealth in doing that. Our focus really in this year and next year is really going to be around housing and shared spaces that we can own together as a community. Our vision has remained the same, that we are connected and focused on building Black wealth without displacement. And we have always been a people-first investment organization. So we want to make sure that we are listening to the people of the community so that when we're making long-term investments, that they are reflective of community and that it's made in partnership with Black residents that have long called the neighborhood home. We want to center resident leadership in our organizational decision-making. So at the very top, how we govern ourselves as an organization, how we treat one another as a team and as a board, that's extremely important to us. And we think that should be reflected internally so that we can make sure that that is reflected outside in the work that we do in community. Our board right now is comprised of 15 members. That 100% of them identify as Black or African American. 53% are Russell residents or business owners. We're really proud of having more than half of our board is reflective of residents and business owners. Just less than 50% have also participated in RPOP's leadership development programs. Over the years, since actually 2020, we have done numerous programs that have focused just on residents. We've done programs that have focused on small business owners, community-based organizations, and we're really proud of the fact that a lot of those folks that have been hanging out with us for the past few years have decided to stay committed to us through board leadership. We also have members that range in age from 25 to 78 years old. We're also extremely proud of that. That's really oftentimes rare and not really seen in a lot of organizations. And so we're proud that we are a multi-generational organization at the leadership at the top. And as of right now, 67% of our board are women and 33% are men. If you are interested in learning more about our board, maybe you want to be a board member yourself, step into board leadership, or maybe you're interested in becoming a committee member, please reach out to us and let us know, and we can get you that information and set up some time to talk with you about those opportunities and see what's the best fit for you. Now I'm going to pass it over to, is it Teresa or Colby?
I think Vashti's going to play the video.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Can you preface, Teresa, what's this video that we're going to?
Yes, I would love to. So Russell Place of Promise is organized as a community land trust, which is something that's really sort of a different model in Kentucky and in Louisville. And so we have this really great, really cute short video that explains the concept much more clearly than we could if we just sort of talked through it. And so we wanted to share this with you. It was produced by an organization called Grounded Solutions Network, which is a national umbrella and technical assistance provider for community land trusts around the country. So we'll play the video and then we'll talk about some of the highlights of what it means to be a community land trust.
Community land trusts, or CLTs, are nonprofit organizations that acquire, own, and steward land permanently for the common good. The most common CLT land use is housing, but retail, office, and a variety of other uses are possible. CLTs give formal decision-making voice and power to local community residents in determining land uses. Here's how CLTs make home buying affordable for families in their communities. First, the CLT builds or buys homes using one-time public or private investment. Next, the CLT sells just the home to a low-income buyer who qualifies for a mortgage, and the CLT keeps the land, holding it in trust for future generations of home buyers. In return for being able to buy a home at a discounted price, the family agrees to pay it forward and sell to another low-income family at a price they can afford. The CLT manages the sales process, ensuring that each home buying family builds some wealth from a predetermined, limited amount of the sales proceeds. In this way, the one-time public or private investment in CLT homes makes lasting affordability a reality and stabilizes communities. And CLTs benefit the larger community too, as they preserve and protect housing for long-term residents, helping to build stronger, safer, and higher quality diverse neighborhoods, contributing to greater educational attainment, employment opportunities, and health outcomes. Visit groundedsolutions.org to learn more about CLTs today.
Thank you, Cassandra and Vashti, for playing that video. So I want to lift up, first of all, I'm Teresa Zawacki. Great to be here. Glad to see so many of you all are tuned in. I'm really excited to be sharing this information with you all tonight. So I want to lift up a few highlights from that video that we just watched. And I'm hopeful that we can get the link to Grounded Solutions Network posted in the chat so that folks can see it. So the things that really stand out in that video are, number one, that community land trusts are really about community control and decision making. And when Cassandra was talking earlier about the fact that so many of our board members have gone through Russell Place of Promise work groups and have been engaged in the process of really shaping what Russell Place of Promise is today, from the beginning, we have really set ourselves up to be guided by residents. And so it's very natural that we have incorporated as a community land trust and will continue to operate, putting residents in the center of decision making. Community land trusts are also about shared ownership. So if you saw in the video that the community land trust sells just the house and retains ownership of the land, that's that idea of shared ownership. And in doing that, in making that decision to share the ownership, there are benefits that are realized to the families who purchase homes in a community land trust. And Colby's going to talk a lot about that later on, so I'm not going to steal any thunder. CLTs are also about access to permanently affordable home ownership. So what does that mean? When prices go up in a neighborhood, sometimes when housing prices go up in a neighborhood, sometimes there are pressures to sell. And what that can do is it can inflate housing prices to a point where folks who are living in the neighborhood today are not able to stay in the neighborhood tomorrow. But what a community land trust does is it makes sure that the prices of those houses that are built and stewarded by the land trust remain affordable, not just for the first family, but for the next family down the line and the next family after them. So it really is about permanent opportunity for wealth creation and home ownership for the neighborhood that the community land trust serves. And then the fourth really key element that I got out of that video is this idea of shared neighborhood growth and investment without displacement. So again, this gets back to the idea that as new construction and new opportunity comes to the neighborhood, the benefits of that new construction and that new development are not just about the people who build the houses or built the commercial spaces or built the whatever it is. Those developments are really about opportunity for everyone. And that comes through the community control and decision making. It comes through the permanent affordability, and it comes through the investment that is really, coming into the neighborhood as a result of this partnership between the organization and residents. I think that's my fan you hear. I don't think I can fix it. It could be my Wi-Fi too. So we can go on to the next slide. So I want to talk about where CLTs came from. This is a concept that's been around for quite a long time, really since the 1960s. And it was born out of the Southern Civil Rights Movement that was looking for ways to reclaim opportunity in the face of Jim Crow laws and policies. And so there was a group of folks who were organizing under SNCC that were living in Albany, Georgia, and looking for opportunities to preserve land access for Black farmers who were really limited to sharecropping opportunities where they didn't own the land. They were at real risk of losing the investments that they were making in the soil, that they were making in the farms that they were managing. And so from that set of conversations about preservation of investment and really the idea of control, and mutual aid and community building, New Communities, Inc. was created to sort of bring to life these concepts and these opportunities. And at one point, the land that was purchased by New Communities, Inc. was 5,000 acres. It was 3,000 acres of farmland and it was 2,000 acres of woods. And it was the largest property owned by Black families in the United States. That's amazing. And so from this movement, from this New Communities concept, there were spawned all kinds of organizations that took those concepts of shared ownership and mutual responsibility and accountability and support and translated that into what we now know as a community land trust. And so the first urban community land trust, so a lot of these have happened in rural areas and farm communities, but the first urban community land trust was actually incorporated in 1980 in Cincinnati. And it was intended to preserve affordable housing in the West End neighborhood, where they were seeing lots of transitions of families out of the neighborhood because housing prices were going up pretty dramatically. And today, again, sort of drawing from this history of community land trusts and the Southern Civil Rights Movement, there are over 300 CLTs in operation across the United States. And this is a concept that has even been taken to other countries around the world. So there's even more of these organizations if you go outside of the United States. And Russell, A Place of Promise is really proud to be part of this network of community land trusts that are working to give opportunity and voice to neighborhoods and their residents, and to permanently protect affordability and wealth creating opportunities. And so there's a link down at the bottom of this slide that takes you to a very extensive report. If anyone is looking for like 100 pages of dense reading, this is your chance. But Cassandra or somebody is also posting about SNCC and the New Communities, CLT, and there's lots of great resources out there. So we can go on to the next slide. So how did Russell Place of Promise decide to become a CLT? Well, again, going back to what Cassandra said at the beginning of this meeting, we have done a ton of work groups, and it has been an amazing opportunity for us to learn alongside residents and to learn alongside other organizations that are doing great work around the country that have values and mission that's aligned with what we and residents of the Russell neighborhood have identified as our top priorities around investment without displacement and building Black wealth. And so from 2019 to 2022, those work groups really focused on the idea of creating a set of shared values alongside Russell Place of Promise team members and learning about potential future organizational models. So when we got started in 2018, you guys might remember that we were not our own 501c3. We were incubated project. We were fiscally sponsored by the Community Foundation of Louisville, and we had a couple of other partners, Cities United and Louisville Metro Government, that gave us some resources. And we spent a very long time building relationships and really starting to hear deeply what Russell residents prioritized for their neighborhood and their families. And so through that process and through opportunities to travel and hear from folks who were working around the country, and really listening to how Russell residents were processing all of that information, we dug deeply into this idea of a community land trust. And really what happened along the way is that work group members made a recommendation that Russell, a Place of Promise, incorporate when the time came as a community land trust. And in doing that, it would reconfirm Russell, a Place of Promise's commitment to give residents voice and choice in what happens in the Russell neighborhood. And it would also preserve affordable options to keep people in Russell. So getting to that investment without displacement commitment that we make. We can go on to the next slide. So again, how did we decide where to invest in new housing? Again, through our work group model. So in 2023, we hosted a work group called the Russell Futures Learning Lab. And we partnered with some students in the Masters of Architecture program at the University of Kentucky to understand where properties were available for acquisition in the Russell neighborhood. I mentioned that one of our early incubating partners was the city, and one of the city's commitments to support Russell, a Place of Promise, was to give us some land. And so we were able to, and the land was coming from the land bank. And so we were able to work with the members of the Russell Futures Learning Lab to develop some criteria for selecting lots that were owned by the land bank. And so the recommendation that the Learning Lab members made was that we select lots that were close together. So concentrating impact, concentrating visibility, and really focusing on an area of the community with this new investment so that there was transformative change available. And so taking the recommendation of the Learning Lab, our board of directors, when we incorporated, made a request to the land bank for a set of lots all in the southwestern part of Russell. There are also considerations for our project on Elliott Avenue that are coming again from the Learning Lab around home design and potential community uses. And that formal request that the board of directors made to the city was granted, and we have lots on reserve for Russell, a Place of Promise, including the ones we'll be developing on Elliott Avenue. So we can go on to the next slide. So I've talked a lot about Elliott Avenue. I've said it a lot, and Shanae also did a great job of teeing this up. But I also want to share with you all this map that shows sort of where this development is happening. So if you can see that outline and those little green dots, that is the 2400 and 2500 block of Elliott Avenue. And for those of you all who are familiar with this area, Kroger is like a block away. There's banks, there's a laundromat, there are other shopping opportunities and food along this corridor. You're also just a couple of blocks off Elliott Park, which is just a block and a half up to the left of this image. You are close to the NIA Center, you're close to Goodwill Opportunity Campus, you're close to the West End Hospital, and you're close to a project that Russell, a Place of Promise will be building at 30th and Madison Street. So you're really sort of in the heart of everything. And then Broadway, of course, is a place where you can catch a bus every 10 minutes or so. And so from a transportation standpoint, you are just really in an ideal location. So this project is a partnership with HPI, the Housing Partnership. We are very excited to be working with them. It is 25 new single-family owner-occupied homes, and it is going to be priced to be affordable to the neighborhood. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that works in later slides, so I'm not going to spend time on it here. But I will say that you're going to start to see activity closer to the end of the year, beginning of next year, on some of these lots that are going to be developed for single family housing. But all of the houses, all 25 of them, are going to be built and available for sale by January of 2027. So 12 months, 25 houses. It's going to go quick. I'll also say again that affordability for these houses is going to be permanently protected by Russell A Place of Promise. And we'll talk about how that works when we get into some of our later slides, but we can keep going for now. So this slide has a ton of information, and everything on the left side of it under these little circles and colored dots is stuff I've already shared. How we got to this point with our partnership pledge, our exploration of organizational forms. I didn't mention this, but our work group members were able to travel to other cities around the country to visit with community land trusts and residents of community land trust properties to understand how that model works. And then some of the other things that happened, we've already talked about around our decision to pursue the CLT model, recommendations from the Russell Futures Learning Lab, and then eventually our incorporation. And so we are incorporated as a nonprofit community land trust as of December of 2023. We're coming up on our second birthday, y'all. And if you follow us on social media, you're going to see, or maybe have already seen some postings about a little celebration we're planning to commemorate the day. So please join us for that. But on the right-hand side of the slide, you'll see what's happening in 2025, 26, and 27. So in 2025, we presented that list of 93 properties that we want to hold on reserve to the land bank. We have solidified our first project in partnership with HPI to build those 25 new homes. And we've also added some folks who are not members of our board of directors to our real estate committee. We've also added some of those folks to other committees. And I will just put in another plug. If you are interested in real estate, if you're interested in fundraising, if you're interested in strategic planning, please reach out because we are looking to add more residents and folks who are supportive of the Russell neighborhood to those committees. So moving forward, we are almost in 2026. And when we are officially in the new year, you're going to start to see opportunities for home sales on Elliott Avenue. We are going to continue adding non-board members to our real estate committee and other committees, and we're actually going to be expanding our board of directors from 15 members to 21 members. And I'll talk for just a minute about why that is going to happen. Community land trusts, as we said before, are governed primarily by residents of the neighborhoods they serve and also residents of the affordable housing that they create and protect. So as we shift our composition to add 7 new board seats, and as we have 10 owner-occupied houses on Elliott Avenue sold, we will shift our board composition so that a third of the members, so 7 of the members, live in those houses. 7 of our board members live in the Russell neighborhood, and 7 of our members are other folks who are interested in the success of the CLT model and of Russell A Place of Promise, and who are champions of the Russell neighborhood. And so the board will become heavily dominated, even more heavily dominated by folks from the neighborhood. In 2027, our board composition will be officially shifted to that tripartite model. And we are going to start to talk more about some of the lots on Elliott Avenue that are too small for houses, but that could be great opportunities for the creation of community uses or amenities, like landscaping, like maybe a community garden, or maybe a dog park area, or something that benefits the residents of those blocks and also the broader community. And so we can go on to the next slide. So I would be remiss if I did not say that in all of this work that we're going to be doing to bring new housing opportunities to the neighborhood, that we also are making a commitment to provide fair housing to folks. And so we follow all federal, state, and local laws related to fair housing, and we don't discriminate based on race, color, sex, religion, national origin, physical or mental disability, familial status, age, ethnic background, political background. This is a very long list. Sexual orientation, gender identity, veteran status, receipt of public assistance, or any other protected characteristic as established by local, state, or federal law. So we are open door. We are interested in talking to you about housing if you're interested in talking to us. We can go on to the next slide. So I'm going to turn it over to Colby, and he's going to walk you through some of the nitty-gritty parts of what it means to buy a home through a CLT.
All right. So my name is Kobe Bentley. Thank you for tagging me in, Teresa. And I am going to be talking about who is this for and why should you choose a CLT home. So a CLT model creates a stable path into homeownership for first-time homebuyers, working families, and residents who want to remain rooted in the Russell community. When you purchase through a CLT, you buy the home, but not the land. That lowers the purchase price and creates real affordability. You also receive ongoing support through education, down payment resources, and also education and guidance. The resale formula will protect you from unpredictable market shifts and keeps the home affordable for future home buyers. RPOP stays with you throughout your time as a home buyer, and RPOP offers support and stability, which allows you not to go through this home buying process all alone. Next slide, please. So how does the CLT make homes more affordable to buyers? Well, affordability begins before you even step into the home. Instead of paying the full market price, you purchase the home at a price aligned with your income. RPOP invests equity to lower the cost, and many buyers qualify for additional down payment assistance. You will also complete a HUD-approved homebuyer education, which Shanae was talking about earlier. This will prepare you for budgeting, credit, and mortgage readiness, and also home maintenance. Because home buyers start with a lowering housing costs and a stronger preparation, families who purchase through a CLT experience fewer foreclosures and have a greater long-term success when it comes to being a homeowner. After you move in, your housing costs remain manageable. So property taxes are lower because the CLT owns the land. RPOP also maintains a reserve for major repairs like a new roof. And a new home also includes warranties that help reduce unexpected expenses, which is a major plus with getting a new construction home. The resale formula protects affordability for future families while still allowing you to build equity over time. This structure supports homeowners without placing the burden of rising markets entirely on their shoulders. So, how does the value work in the CLT? So, what you're seeing right now is an example that shows how the market values have risen over time. You're seeing three different sales. So, three different homeowners. So, a house went from 200,000 to 240,000 to 290,000. In a typical market, that growth can push families out of reach. In the CLT, the approach is different. RPOP invests equity at the first sale so the buyer can purchase at an affordable price rather than paying the market value. When the home sells again, the resale formula sets a new affordable price. That owner earns equity from their down payment, the principal they repaid to their mortgage, and also a fair share of appreciation. By the time you get to the third sale, the home is still affordable even though the market has risen. This structure allows one home to remain affordable for generations while each owner still builds wealth. It balances personal opportunity with community stability. The applicant pool. So to join the applicant pool, you must attend parts 1 and part 2 of Homebuyer 101 series. So if you're viewing right now, you at 50% right now. And you also must finish a HUD-approved homebuyer education course. RPOP will review your income, your household income size, your employment information, and once you are approved, you will remain in the pool for up to 2 years. The applicant pool allows RPOP to match families with homes that fit their income and their household needs. And it also helps guide future developments by showing what kind of homes families are seeking, so we know what we should be developing in the future. And next, I'm going to talk about the selection process. So when a CLT home becomes available, everyone in the applicant pool receives an email that explains the home details and any preferences tied to that home. If the home aligns with your income and your family size, you respond within 7 days. Everyone who responds during that window is entered into a lottery. RPOP will then select 1 to 3 households. Those selected will have 14 days to submit their full documents. RPOP will review the financing readiness, household size, income alignment to make the final match. This process ensures a fair, clear, and a predictable path for every household in the applicant pool. Now, what happens if you're not selected? It's not the end of the world. So if you're not selected, you still remain in the applicant pool as long as your pre-application is active. You still continue to receive notifications about upcoming homes. Not being selected simply means that there were more qualified households than available opportunities for that specific home. Your place in the pool still matters. RPOP uses that information from the pool to understand demand for future homes. The income ranges, the household sizes, and the preferences in that pool help shape what RPOP develops next in the Russell neighborhood. So even if you are not selected today, your interest helps guide new housing opportunities in the neighborhood for the future. I'm sure you're probably wondering, so how does homeownership even work in the CLT? Well, in the CLT model, you own the home and the CLT owns the land. You receive a 99-year renewable ground lease, which provides long-term stability similar to traditional homeownership. You agree to live in a home as your primary residence. I'm gonna say it one more time. You agree to live in your home as your primary residence. You have to keep it insured, maintain it, and pay property taxes in the ground lease fee. Major renovations or renting out a home require approval to make sure the home remains safe, well cared for, and affordable for the next buyer. These expectations protect you, protect the home, and protect the mission of long-term affordability. I also want to add that renting in CLTs usually are not a thing, but we are trying to be a little bit different and get a little bit of creative because we know certain things happen. But those things are still going to require approval through RPOP because this has to be your primary residence. And when it comes to selling your home, you have the right to sell your home at any time. The resale formula guides the sale price to keep the home affordable for the next buyer. When you sell, you keep your down payment, the principal you have paid to your mortgage, and your fair share of growth within the home. RPOP screens the next buyer to ensure the home remains in reach for another family. You can also pass the home to your heirs. Your family can inherit the rights under the ground lease, continuing your legacy of stable, affordable home ownership. And I'm gonna leave y'all with some key facts. So you own your home and you build equity. Your investment is protected through the CLT structure. You receive support over the long term. Affordability lasts for future generations. Residents lead the vision. Residents lead the vision. That's just the way that RPOP does things. And long-term homeowners in the community are supported. And the foundation of all of this is RPOP's commitment to investment without displacement. And if you're excited and you're ready to join, your journey begins right now. What you can do is you can meet with a lender, homebuyer counselors. You can start to save your first $1,000. You can complete a HUD certified homeownership counseling course. Reach out to HPI, to the Urban League. You can also attend another homebuyer session. You can sign up for RPOP updates so you can stay connected about upcoming opportunities, new homes, and all things RPOP. And now we got questions. Drop them in the chat so we can answer them for you.
All right, y'all. So like Kobe said, drop in questions that you all have about the Community Land Trust in the comment section. You can also, if you have questions about HPI, Housing Partnership, Inc., Shanae is still with us, so she can answer those questions. If you have questions about Elliott Avenue in particular, about the 25 new homes that are coming up, let us know. We also have dropped a link for you to check out our Pops Russell Neighborhood Community Land Trust FAQ, so frequently asked questions for home buyers. If you check that out, you will see a full list of FAQs and responses. I think that will, help a lot of folks. But even if your FAQ is not there, please drop your questions in the chat as well as any comments. We do have a question already from Jabani. She is asking, when is part 2 scheduled? As of right now, we have not scheduled part 2 just yet, but we are aiming for the end of January to do a part 2. So just be on the lookout on our social media and your email and your text about when that date will be. But we are aiming for the end of January. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Teresa or Colby, is there anything else you would like to share for this evening?
One of the things I would like to share is to when we do get a date for part 2, please make sure you sign up. We would have our community partners there so that you can get connected to the resources that you need, whether it be lenders, whether it be your HUD certified counseling. We're going to make sure that we guide you through the whole process so you guys have everything that you need in order to be successful homebuyers.
Teresa, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, it looks like we have another question. Do you have any resources for people who own a home but want to get started in renting out the home that they currently own? So a lot of people who want to rent the home they currently own to somebody else will work with a property management company to do that, or they sometimes will do it themselves, and they'll post the opportunity to rent on Craigslist, or they'll post it on a Facebook marketplace type opportunity, and people will find and call them about their listings. Those are some of the best places to start thinking about doing something like that. A property manager will charge you a fee to sort of take that off your hands. So they'll rent the property out, they'll maintain it. A lot of times they'll do sort of both of those things. And those can be good ways to go about getting into the rental market business. And Colby may have some thoughts about that as well.
One of the things I would add to is I would recommend you also reach out to a realtor. That way they can guide you in putting your home in the MLS for rental, so you can get the most exposure to people who are looking for homes. I would also, I could recommend some books also as well if you want to learn a little bit more about renting out your home as well too.
Oh, I'm so glad to see this question pop up in the chat. I was just about to share something about this. So when can you start the home buyer course? You can call HPI or the Urban League tomorrow, assuming that we're not snowed in, and have a conversation about enrolling in those classes. The Urban League does classes pretty regularly. HPI does classes pretty regularly. So for folks who are ready to start that, please go ahead and reach out and get that certificate so that you can be ready to enter the applicant pool next year. Any other questions from this wonderful and engaged audience of ours? All right. Well, if not, it has been an absolute pleasure being with you all tonight. We are hopeful that you all are someplace warm and safe, and that you have something warm to eat or drink, and that you're ready for whatever snow we're going to get tomorrow overnight. We also will make sure on our social media that we get dates out for January, February, March as soon as we have them, so that if you want to come back to another one of these 101 sessions, you're able to do that, maybe in person even. And that when we have our second part of this session ready to go, you also know when to write that on your calendars. In the meantime, if you have questions or if you have feedback or anything else that we can offer you, please reach out to us on social media. You can email. I will say that there's going to be some changes coming to our website and our email addresses, especially Cassandra's and our outreach at Russell Promise email are going to be shifting. And so best place to catch us is going to be social media for a little while, and we'll be watching our Instagram and our Facebook platforms, especially for comments from you all. So in the meantime, I know we're getting some of those links to books that Colby had mentioned so that we can post them in the chat. And I don't know, anybody got anything else before we wrap up for the night?
Yeah, so we are having our second birthday celebration next Friday from 12 to 2 at Hip Hop Sweets. We will have cookies, we'll have cake, and we'll have celebration. Those details will be coming out on our social media, our email, and our text chain in just a little bit. So be on the lookout for that. We hope that we'll be able to see you all there again next Friday, December 19th from 12 to 2 at Hip Hop Sweets. Oh, and we had Giovanni says she loves the organizational text messages. Thank you. And thanks for letting us know that you've received them. If anyone is interested in receiving, signing up to receive our newsletters, our emails, you can sign up on our website. Just go to the bottom of our website page and say that you want to get in contact with us. And if you're also interested in signing up for our text messages, you can also sign up there as well by sharing your email and your phone number with us. And I think that's it. Have a good evening, everyone. All right. We also have some additional comments coming in as we close out. Hopefully you check that out. We got some folks dropping some advice in regards to renting out homes. And thank you all for joining us.